Hello everyone. So one of our viewers was asking me, it's been a few weeks now, but I'm finally getting to release this video. It was CL Strife, I believe, was asking me if I could talk a little bit about INFJ authors, INFJ artists, famous ones. And, you know, I was thinking that rather than give you a list, because I don't think it makes a lot of sense. You could easily find something like that online and a list. I don't find that very interesting to record, and I don't think that you would find it that interesting, and I would not really be bringing any added value. I'm going to focus on 2 or 3 significant INFJ artists because I think they are quite representative of the INFJ condition. And I've talked about them before. But I'll talk about them again, and hopefully, through a new angle as well. So I'm going to actually mention 2 writers and 2 filmmakers, okay? So the 2 writers are Fyodor Dostoevsky and Hermann Hesse, right? And the 2 filmmakers that I think are the most representative are Terrence Malick and Andrei Tarkovsky, right? So Terrence Malick is American, Andrei Tarkovsky is Russian, obviously Dostoevsky is Russian, and Hermann Hesse, I think he's German. Please let him not be Austrian. If he is, I apologize to Austrians. I'm pretty sure Hermann Hesse is German. Okay, so these guys, and I'm sorry, but it's all men in there. I certainly could have found women as well, but these came to mind as really emblematic of the INFJ condition, because in all of these authors, what you will notice is their works, whether they are movies or books, are not dominated by a very sort of multitudinous realm of ideas and topics. It's not like they're going in lots of different directions and exploring different things with their work, with their movies, with their books. It almost feels as if they're ever revisiting their core fixations, their core obsessions, and which are probably like 1, 2, maybe 3, 1 or 2 probably suffices. And they're just creating with each new work like a new context. So maybe it's a new aesthetic, new set of characters, so sometimes a very complex plot like in the Dostoevsky novels, sometimes something much more simple like in Hesse or in Malick and Tarkovsky. In fact, usually in NI dominance, the concern with the plot is secondary compared to the realization of a particular pattern they have in their mind that they want to put on paper or on film. So Dostoevsky is a bit of an exception because he's got amazing plots too, but there's no doubt he is NI dominant. I think that Dostoevsky was quite balanced between his NI function and his functions of judgment. It might be less the case with the other 3. So you get very rich symbolism. I mean, that's very obvious in Tarkovsky, it's obvious in Malick as well, it's obvious in Hesse. You get, like I said, only 2 or 3 ideas being constantly replayed. Always the sense that the story that is being captured is not just like a sui generis kind of story, but it's kind of like a localized representative of a universal phenomenon. You always get this sense with their works, and that's also why it's very interesting to explore if you consider like the movie Solaris by Tarkovsky, or The Mirror, or Stalker, or if you consider like The Tree of Life, or what's the other one called, Days of Heaven by Malick. These 2 come to mind. The Thin Red Line as well. There's always this massive sort of universal theme that is really coming together with the package. You see that in Hesse's books, like in Siddhartha, you see that in Steppenwolf, The Glass Bead Game, and you also see that in Dostoevsky, you see that in Demons, you see that in The Idiot. I mean, The Idiot is like a quintessential book like that to some extent. Its message is really universal, even though it's the story of a particular person, a particular historical context. And so that's very noticeable. There is always a kind of disarming and misleading simplicity in the style, right? So again, like there's not a lot of, I mean, aesthetically, the movies of Malick and of Tarkovsky are very, very nice. But in terms of what happens in the movies, there's nothing crazy. There's nothing that is trying to impress or trying to invent something. It's like, it's, you know, it often is quite bare. And you see that in Hess too, again, a bit less in Dostoevsky, because the concern is more with the symbolic ramifications of the core themes that are the obsessions of those particular authors, okay? And I think if you want to have like the ultimate NI experience, like in a kind of mature, fully fledged, very impressively integrated work in terms of all the functions, the book that I would recommend is, it's not an easy book, but I mean, it's not that hard either. And it's, you know, it's 400 or 500 pages. But it's like, for me, this is the quintessential INFJ experience, when you have NI really balanced with the functions of judgment and with SE. And that's The Glass Bead Game by Hermann Hesse. The Glass Bead Game by Hermann Hesse. You should read this book, because I feel like a mature INFJ who has realized this vision and who manages to successfully put it on paper for all to see is exactly that book. The Glass Bead Game by Hermann Hesse. Get it today if you want to know more. Okay, and there's other books about INFJs that I recommend you get. That's my books. So The Infinite Soul, INFJ Life in the Modern World. Get it today. It's a book about how INFJs can find meaning, value, and purpose in the world today, even though they see the world as hostile. And this book really argues that authenticity and authentic NI life is the key to fulfillment, meaning, and purpose. And this book explores how you can do this. The Infinite Soul, and its prequel, The Ecstatic Soul. That book is a deep dive into the nature of INFJ-ness, what it's like to be an INFJ, what's it like to think like an INFJ. It's the deepest investigation of the INFJ mind you will find online, a new look at the INFJ personality. Get the two books together if you haven't got them. They go very well together, as you can imagine. And as usual, guys, don't forget the lifeblood of my channel is my Patreon page. So if you would consider donating to my channel, I'd be so grateful, because I could not do it without you, basically. And it's relatively cheap, but the added, you know, numbers of people supporting means that it provides support, and I can continue producing quality content on a very regular basis. You get really nice perks too, by the way. You get access to our Discord server, which is pretty active. I'm there every day, and you can interact with me on the others. You get a bonus video every 2 weeks. I just recorded one yesterday on ego, self, and persona, and other perks too. So check the link to my Patreon below if you would consider it, and I'll talk to you next time, guys. Bye-bye.